There are words that dissolve like mist, slipping from memory almost as soon as they are spoken, leaving no mark behind. And then there are words that don't just remain. They root themselves in the flesh, in the mind, in the hidden chambers of desire. They lodge between memory and body, echoing long after the sound has faded. A woman may forget the man who always remembered her birthday, who sent long good morning texts, who offered unwavering loyalty and care. She may forget the dinners you paid for, the nights you stayed awake consoling her, the endless devotion you poured out like water. But she will never forget the words that awakened something primal within her. Words that touched not her logic, not her ego, but the subconscious part of her that decides whom she craves. Because what imprints itself forever is not effort, but identity. Not what you gave her, but what you made her feel about herself and about you. And here lies the hidden tragedy. Countless men devote themselves to being kind, supportive, endlessly available, only to be left behind for a man who gave less yet left a deeper impression. Why? Because devotion without identity is forgettable. Effort without desire is sterile. A woman doesn't obsess over a man because of how much he gave. She obsesses because of how he made her belong to something larger than herself. And one of the most potent, overlooked keys to that is the act of naming. A nickname, in the right hands, is not a cute word. It is a symbol, a declaration of belonging, a mark of dominance and intimacy that threads into her subconscious and plants you in a place no effort could ever reach. This is not about the pet names you've heard 1,000 times. Baby, honey, sweetheart, princess. Those are generic labels, worn-out currency in the marketplace of romance. They don't create new meaning. They recycle old memories, use them, and you become just another page in a book she's already read. But the right nickname, chosen from power rather than need, becomes something else entirely. It is not just a word. It is a key, one that unlocks her desire, one that makes her body and psyche recognize you as the man she cannot categorize, the man she cannot replace. That is why today I am going to reveal to you the 5 forbidden nicknames. These are not ordinary terms of endearment. They are psychological weapons, each designed to awaken something deeper than affection, obsession. When used with maturity and strength, they make a woman chase you, respect you, surrender to you, and fear losing you. But be warned, the final nickname is so powerful that if you use it without being ready, it will bind her to you in ways you may not be able to handle. My name is Celia, and this is your house of wisdom. Stay with me, because by the end, you will be armed with the kind of knowledge that reshapes how women see you, how they respond to you, and how they remember you. Perhaps you've already felt the sting of being forgotten. You gave everything, your loyalty, your time, your protection, yet she walked away without looking back. Perhaps you have asked yourself why women seem to give their hearts to men who offer less, men who are distant, even careless. It is because desire doesn't attach itself to fairness or generosity. Desire attaches itself to the mark of identity. The man who knows how to name knows how to lead, and the man who cannot name her becomes part of her past, not her obsession. The first forbidden key is the nickname that takes her out of her ego and places her inside your world. This is the foundation of everything else. When a woman meets you, she studies you carefully. She may not say it aloud, but she analyzes how you address her. Because words are not neutral. They reveal whether you are repeating the same patterns as every other man, or whether you are creating something new that belongs only to you. If you call her with the clichés, babe, honey, princess, she knows immediately that you are walking a familiar path, one already paved by her exes and countless other men. You have already lost, not because she dislikes you, but because you have failed to stand out. You've stepped into a recycled role and she files you away accordingly. But if you call her with a word that doesn't come from tenderness, but from power, everything shifts. You signal to her subconscious that you are not entering her world, you are inviting her into yours. You are not following her narrative, you are writing your own. And if she wants to stay, she will have to adapt to you. That is leadership. That is what leaves a mark. Picture this moment. She is talking about her day, her ambitions, her successes, the endless details of her story. She is wrapped in her narrative. And then, without explanation, you pause, look at her, and say, "Little savage, you don't explain. You don't laugh. You don't soften it. You simply say it and continue speaking." In that instant, something profound happens inside her mind. She starts to wonder, why did he call me that? What did he see in me? What instinct of his did I awaken? What does it mean to him? And because she doesn't know, because she cannot categorize it, she begins to obsess. This is the secret. Women don't obsess over what they understand. They obsess over what they cannot quite name, what they cannot classify. That mystery gnaws at them. And if you are the one who plants it inside her, you become unforgettable. The tragedy is that most men use nicknames to flatter, to be cute, to please. They use words that make them sound romantic or agreeable, but they don't realize that a nickname is not a game of affection. It is a symbolic act of leadership. It is the act of saying, "I name you because I bring you into my world. I give you identity because I want you to belong, not as another one, but as mine." But beware. If that nickname doesn't come from your strength, from your center, from your core masculine truth, she will sense it instantly. Women have an uncanny ability to smell falsehood. If you try to imitate power without embodying it, she will see through the disguise. She will discard you as easily as she discards the flowers from her ex. Because she is not looking for sweetness. She is looking for dominance. Not violent dominance, not cruelty, but the steady presence of a man who names because he chooses, not because he needs. And this is the question you must ask yourself. Are you naming her from need or from choice? Because only the man who names from choice leaves a mark. Naming her from your world is the first act of power, but keeping her there requires more. It requires that you understand the way her most primal desires are wired. A woman may admire you with her mind. She may even respect you. But she only surrenders with her body when something deeper is triggered, something beyond her conscious control. This brings us to the second forbidden key, the nickname that activates her instinct for sensual surrender. Understand this clearly. A woman is not simply searching for the right man. She is searching for the man who makes her surrender, not through fear, but through attraction, that irresistible pull toward a masculine energy that can't be explained, only felt. A nickname that does not flatter, but gently dominates, reaches an ancient part of her psyche. It awakens the blurred line between desire and surrender. It is not vulgar, it is not insulting. It is a key, one that unlocks her feminine vulnerability and invites her to be guided. This is not the realm of the man who asks permission at every step. This is the realm of the man whose presence radiates direction without needing to raise his voice or impose his will. Psychology calls this the nonviolent dominant frame, the ability to lead without coercion, to command respect without aggression. When such a man looks at a woman and calls her my little wolf, or my storm, or my pretty witch, He is doing more than choosing words. He is creating a paradox in her mind. On one side, he validates her. He sees her uniqueness. On the other, he claims her symbolically. He sets her apart as his. That tension between validation and control is what drives her obsession. Stoic philosophy teaches that dominance is not about controlling others, but about mastering the responses you create in them. A true leader doesn't need to shout, threaten, or prove. He shapes the energy of the space by his very presence. And once you understand this, you stop wasting time on the cutest nickname or the most flattering compliment. You start to recognize that the most strategic nickname is the one that unsettles her, the one that doesn't lull her into comfort, but awakens her from within, the one that reminds her, without ever saying it, that you are not here to please, you are here to provoke, to lead, to ignite. And here is a truth few men dare to face. A woman does not surrender to the man who brings her flowers. She surrenders to the man who makes her feel fragile without breaking her, small without humiliating her, desired without being flattered. The nickname that achieves this is not just a playful phrase, it is a declaration that you understand her nature even better than she does. When you speak it, her body responds before her mind can intervene. She doesn't analyze, she reacts. This is why nicknames are so much more than words. They are the tools by which you etch yourself into her subconscious. But they only work if you dare to step out of the ordinary and name her from your strength, not from imitation. This is the beginning of leaving a mark she cannot erase. By now you understand that the art of naming is not a game of romance, but a language of power, identity, and desire. The first two keys showed you how to place her in your world and how to activate her instinct for surrender. But the third key demands something subtler. It plays on her fear of being replaceable. The truth is that the female mind, no matter how confident or accomplished, cannot tolerate the idea of being just another woman. She may endure dominance, she may even enjoy it, but if she senses that what you give her could just as easily be given to another, something primal ignites inside her. It is not love that rises, it is competition, it is ego, it is the refusal to be ordinary. And this is where the strategic use of ambiguity becomes your most powerful weapon. The nickname at this stage should not be overly intimate or exclusive, because that gives her certainty. Instead, it should sit on the knife's edge of meaning, as if you could say it to others, but somehow it sounds different when you say it to her. This ambiguity creates a silent war within her, because she wants to resolve whether she is special, whether she is chosen, whether she has conquered you. And because you refuse to clarify, she leans in harder, invests more, obsesses more. That is emotional dissonance, and it is one of the strongest drivers of desire. The fourth forbidden key goes deeper, far beyond competition and dominance. It touches the most dangerous terrain of all, her wound. Every woman carries one, even if she hides it behind independence, behind laughter, behind the mask of perfection. It might be the wound of rejection, of abandonment, of never feeling enough. Most men avoid it because they fear seeming weak, or because they only know how to interact with the surface she shows them. But a man who dares to see beneath, who notices the fracture she tries to conceal, gains a power no gift or gesture could ever grant. The right nickname here is not said lightly. It is not a joke, nor is it dramatic. It is spoken calmly, with a tone that mixes tenderness with certainty. Something like, "my fearful girl," or "my hidden one." A word that pierces her mask and lets her know you saw what she thought was invisible. In that moment, her defenses collapse, because you did not fall for the character she performs. You saw the part she hides even from herself. And once you name that, she cannot forget you. But this key demands maturity, because if you awaken her wound and then abandon her, you do not simply hurt her, you scar her. That is why this nickname should never be used as a game, only as an act of depth. To touch a wound without strength is manipulation, but to touch it with clarity and presence is unforgettable power. Finally, we arrive at the fifth and most uncomfortable key, the nickname that does not reflect who she claims to be, but who she becomes with you. This is the point where most men fail because they allow themselves to be seduced by her projected identity, the strong professional, the mother, the autonomous woman, the character she shows to the world. They praise this mask with words like queen, goddess, or my everything, thinking they are being romantic, when in fact they are surrendering power. These names place her above you, hand her the crown, and kill desire in the process. They make you a servant rather than a man, but the man who sees through the performance, who looks past the identity she built for the world and names the untamed, unfiltered essence underneath, that man becomes unforgettable. Imagine looking at her and saying, without apology, my little submissive, or my wild side, or my untamable need. In that instant, you are not flattering her. You are naming the woman she only becomes in your presence, the woman she cannot show anyone else. That is why it disarms her, because it cuts through years of performance and reminds her that with you, she is not the character, she is the truth. And everything a woman cannot control becomes her obsession. Understand this clearly. Women spend their lives carefully crafting identities that command respect and independence. But beneath all of that is a duality they cannot escape. Part of them wants to be seen as strong, but another part longs to surrender without losing dignity. Most men either worship the mask or try to break it forcefully, but the rare man who sees beyond it, who dares to name the hidden feminine animal beneath, holds a power that borders on mythic, because she cannot control you, she cannot predict you, and she cannot categorize you. You become the man her body remembers, long after her mind tries to forget. You are no longer the nice guy who gave everything and was forgotten. You are the one who named her, who led without begging, who provoked instead of pleasing, who ignited instead of entertaining. This is the true essence of leaving a mark. It is not about flowers or gifts or endless declarations. It is about vision. It is about daring to step beyond comfort and correctness into the raw truth of desire. To name a woman from your core, not from your lack. To speak a word that strips away her masks and awakens the part of her that craves belonging more than love, obsession more than security. That is what she remembers. That is what she cannot release. And that is why these 5 forbidden nicknames are not tricks of seduction, but symbols of transformation. Use them not to manipulate, but to embody the kind of man who no longer begs to be remembered, but becomes impossible to forget.